Hello everyone and welcome to the Time to Cook Club Advanced and to your online class. So today we're going to be making chocolate Easter nest cake. And if you've had enough of Easter, don't worry, you can just make it a lovely chocolate cake. So hopefully if you're joining me today, you have all of your ingredients weighed out, measured and ready to go, and also the equipment from the equipment list. So let's make a start. So the first thing you need to do if you're making an Easter nest to go on top of your chocolate cake is you need to get your vermicelli and you need to break it up into small pieces in a clean bowl, okay, like so. So just keep going until you've broken up your vermicelli noodles into small pieces, and then I'll tell you what to do now. Okay, welcome back guys. So hopefully by now your noodles have been broken up into small pieces. So the next thing you need to do is you need to break up your 100 grams of dark chocolate and you need to melt it either in the microwave, so you need to pop it into a microwavable bowl and then microwave on high for 1 minute before putting a spoon in, giving your chocolate a stir and then microwaving it again at 30-second intervals until all the chocolate has melted. You will need to continue to watch your chocolate and check on it regularly because it does burn very easily. If you don't have a microwave, then don't worry, you will need a small saucepan and you'll need to pop a little bit of water in the bottom of it, okay? Then you'll need to get a big bowl and pop your pieces of broken up chocolate into the bowl. And what you're going to do is you're going to pop the bowl on top of the saucepan so that it just perches on top, okay? If you use a Pyrex bowl, that's a great bowl to use because it won't melt. And what you're aiming for is, like I've said, the bowl of chocolate to just perch on top of the saucepan so that it doesn't actually touch the water at the bottom. So that's why you need a small saucepan and a large bowl. And then you're going to pop the saucepan onto a low heat on the hob and you're going to continue to stir the chunks of dark chocolate until all your chocolate has melted. But again, please do keep an eye on your chocolate because it will burn very easily. So however you're melting your chocolate, join me back here when you have, and we can continue with our recipe together. Welcome back guys. So now what you need to do is you need to pop your melted chocolate into the bowl with your broken up vermicelli noodles, okay, like so. If you've got a spatula, then you might want to use it just to make sure you're getting out all of that lovely melted dark chocolate, not wasting any. And then what you're going to do is with your spoon or with your hands, if you prefer, you're going to cover your vermicelli noodles in the chocolate, okay? So you'll need to keep, with your spoon, you'll need to keep almost kind of chopping the vermicelli noodles and stirring them in so that they're completely coated in the chocolate. So keep going until you've done that and we'll make our chocolate nest together. Great work guys, so hopefully by now your noodles are completely coated in chocolate. So now's the fun bit. What you'll need is you'll need a cereal bowl or a small bowl and you'll need to line it with either cling film or tin foil if you don't have any cling film, okay? You'll also need to line a pint glass or a jam jar with either tin foil or cling film if you have it, because this is going to be used to weight down the chocolate nest, okay, to keep it in shape whilst it's setting. So what you need to do is you need to spoon your vermicelli noodles into the bowl, like so. And then what you're going to do, and this will get messy, but it's lots of fun, you're going to push out the vermicelli, okay, to make like a nest shape. So ideally you want it to go quite high on the sides, okay, because if you are making this as an Easter cake or a belated Easter cake, then we're going to fill this with chocolate eggs. If you don't have any chocolate eggs, maybe you could fill it with something like Maltesers maybe, or even M&Ms, that would be lovely, okay, just as like a sweet treat. But if you get quite high on the sides, just make sure that there's no kind of big holes. That will really help, okay. Like I said, this is really, really messy, but don't worry because we can obviously wash our hands afterwards, okay. Okay, so that will just about do. Like I said, try and get it as high as you possibly can and thin out the vermicelli at the top so it's not all in chunks at the top. Okay, then what you'll need to do is, once you've washed your hands, you can pop your glass or your jam jar in the middle of it just to keep it all in place. So I'm just going to go wash my hands and I'm back in just a second. So like I said, what you need to do now is just pop that jam jar or that glass in the middle just to keep that structure in place, and then you're going to place your Easter nest into the fridge to chill, and then the chocolate will harden to create that lovely nest shape. So now it's time for us to make our chocolate cake. And what we've got to do first is we've got to spend some time preparing our cake tins. So we're using 2 8-inch cake tins with removable bases, or 20cm cake tins. And what we're going to do is we're going to line them with some greaseproof paper, some non-stick baking paper. So I would suggest folding some non-stick baking paper in half, okay, so you've got 2 sides to it, before popping on one of your tins, okay, drawing around it with a pencil and then cutting it out. And by cutting it out when your non-stick baking paper is folded, you'll actually come out with 2 circles, okay, like so. So then what you'll need to do is you'll need to pop on some butter or margarine all around the sides of your tin, okay. It's really important to do this at the start of your bake because otherwise you could spend ages making the perfect chocolate cake only to struggle to get it out once it's been cooked, okay? So we're going to do the same with the other tin. So you do put a little bit on the bottom of your tin just to act a little bit like glue and to hold that non-stick baking paper in place, okay? Okay, then you're going to pop your non-stick baking paper in the bottom of your tin. Just press it down carefully so that it's flat on the bottom and doesn't ruche up, okay? And once you've done that, we're going to put a little bit more butter on just the bottom of the tin where the non-stick baking paper is, okay? And like I say, this is all done to help you to get your cakes out of the tin once they've been cooked. Okay, great work guys. So once you've lined and greased your baking tins, you can pop them to one side. We won't need them until we're ready to pop our cake mixture into them. Now what you need to do is you need to go and preheat the oven to either gas mark 4 or 180 degrees or 160 degrees if you're using a fan oven. The reason why we need to preheat the oven is to make sure that the oven is at the perfect temperature when we're ready to pop our bake into it. So we are making a chocolate sponge today. So to make that chocolatey, we're going to pop in 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder into a bowl or a cup, like so. And we're going to blend it with 3 tablespoons of boiling water, like so. I'm going to give it a good stir to mix it together. It should look almost a bit like a paste, okay? And if you need a tiny bit more water, okay, pop another teaspoon in. And so it should form kind of a loose paste. Put one more in. Great work. So you can just leave that to one side to just cool down a little bit. And the first ingredient you're going to add to your mixing bowl is your butter or your margarine, and you're going to give that a good stir to just soften it, okay? If you're using butter, this will take a little while, but if you're using margarine, it's been out of the fridge for a little bit, it should soften quite quickly. Okay, so you just need to stir it, and you can always use the back of your spoon to just squish it down onto the side of your bowl, like so. Great work guys, well done. The next ingredient you're going to add is your caster sugar. And then what you're going to do is, using your spoon again, you're going to very carefully cream together those 2 ingredients. Now when we cream together 2 ingredients, it basically just means mixing really quickly, okay, so that the 2 ingredients get mixed together so well that you can only see one ingredient. And you can keep using your spoon to scrape down the sides of your bowl each time, okay, like the next ingredient you need to add to your mixing bowl is the cocoa powder and chocolate paste that you've just prepared earlier. You can always use another spoon to just help you to make sure that you're getting all of that cocoa powder mixture off of your spoon. And then what you're going to do is, using your spoon, you're going to mix in the cocoa powder paste into your margarine and your sugar mixture. Okay. So just keep going until you have mixed in all of those ingredients together. And now we're going to prepare our self-raising flour. Now we are using self-raising flour, so it will help your cakes to grow or to rise in the oven. But we're also using baking powder, which is going to help your cakes to rise even further. So we're going for 2 level teaspoons of baking powder, okay? And you can level your baking powder just by using the top of your baking powder tin to just scrape the top of your teaspoon, so that you'll be using a level teaspoon rather than a heaped teaspoon of baking powder. And then, using your spoon, you're going to very carefully mix your baking powder into your self-raising flour, like so. And now we're ready to add our eggs in, but we're going to add them in one at a time, okay? So it's a really good idea to crack your eggs into a separate bowl or cup, and that way if you get any shell in them, then you can see that really easily and fish it out easily, and also you can check that the egg looks okay. So once you have had a look at your egg and you're happy with it, you can add it in. You're also going to add in a tablespoon of the flour mixture at the same time, okay? So just give it a good stir. You might want to keep your spoon at the bottom of the bowl just to stop the flour from puffing up to start with. And then using your spoon, you can scrape down the sides of the bowl, okay, to make sure that all of your mixture is really well mixed in. Now we're using 4 eggs in total, and we're going to add them in exactly the same way each time, okay? So we're going to crack them into a separate bowl or cup, just to have a look. And if we're happy with them, then we're going to add them in to the mixture with a tablespoon of the flour mix, okay? And again, we're going to give that a stir to mix it all in together. Remember to use your spoon to keep scraping down the sides of your bowl each time, okay? And just keep going until you have added all 4 eggs in the same way, along with your tablespoon of the flour mix. You will have some flour mixture left over, that's absolutely fine. Don't add it in just yet. Okay, welcome back guys. So hopefully by now you have added in your 4 eggs and your 4 heaped tablespoons of flour mix. Now with the rest of the flour mixture, we're going to sieve that in, okay? So literally just drawing circles in your sieve, at the bottom of your sieve, to just push that flour and baking powder through, okay? And then what you're going to do is you're going to fold that flour mixture into your cake mixture. And when we fold, we literally just do the letter S and then strike down. So like this motion. We're not beating it, we're not stirring it, we're folding it in, okay? So just keep going until you have folded in all of the flour mixture using that kind of letter S and slash. Okay, and remember to check at the bottom of your mixing bowl that there's no flour just kind of sat at the bottom, and also scraping down the sides of the bowl to make sure that we have folded in all of the flour and baking powder mix. So now what we need to do is we need to get the tins that we pre-prepared earlier, and we need to divide the mixture as evenly as we can between the 2 cake tins, like so. If you have a spatula, you might want to use it just to make sure that you're getting out all of that lovely mixture. Okay, so once you've divided the mixture evenly between the 2 tins, you now need to just using a spatula or even a palette knife or the back of a spoon, you need to just level off the tops of the cakes. You can do that just by kind of turning the tin around and using the back of the spoon to just press down the cake, okay? Once you've done one, you can do the same with the other cake, like so. And then what you need to do is you need to pop these into the centre of your preheated oven to cook for between 25 to 30 minutes. You're aiming for the cakes to rise and to be springy to the touch. And if you want to test your cake to make sure whether it's cooked or not, then you need to insert a sharp knife into the middle of your cake. If it comes out clean, then it means it's cooked. If it comes out wet with some sticky mixture on it, you need to pop it in for a few more minutes, okay? So set your timer for 25 minutes and check on your cakes, see what they're doing. If they're cooked, then carefully take them out. If they're not cooked, then you will need to pop them back in. Once the cakes have cooked, you'll need to keep them in the tin for 5 minutes just to cool down a little before turning the cakes out onto a cooling rack and very carefully peeling off the non-stick baking paper. So join me back here once your cakes are cooked and out onto cooling racks, and we can make our meringue and hazelnut filling together. See you in a bit, guys. Welcome back, guys. So hopefully by now your chocolate cakes have cooked and you've turned them out onto cooling racks and taken the non-stick baking paper off of them. So now we're ready to make our meringue and hazelnut filling. So the first thing you need to do is you need to pour your cream into a clean mixing bowl, and you need to whisk your cream until you get stiff peaks. So I used an electric whisk to whisk my cream, but you can use a hand whisk, it will just take you a bit longer. So join me back here when you've whisked up your cream into stiff peaks, and I'll tell you what to do next. So now what you need to do is you need to break up your meringue into small pieces and pop them in with your cream. Okay, so I'm literally just using my hands, kind of crush the meringue into small pieces. And just continue until you have broken up all of your meringues. So I'm using 2 mini meringues today. Once you've broken up your meringues into small pieces, you can then add in your chopped and toasted hazelnuts. And what you're going to do is you're going to fold these 2 ingredients into the cream. So remember, when we're folding in ingredients, we're making the letter S and then slashing down with our spoon. Okay, we're not beating by stirring. We want to fold in these 2 ingredients so that they are really evenly distributed in with the cream, okay? So just keep going until you have folded in the hazelnuts and the meringue pieces, and I'll tell you what to do now. Okay, so once your cakes are completely cool, you're going to pop one of your cakes onto a serving plate, and you're going to pop your cream mixture on top of one of the cakes, okay? And using the back of your spoon, just press down on that cream mixture and spread it out right to the edges of your cake, like so. And once you've done that, you can pop your second cake on top, like so. So now we're ready to make our chocolate icing. Now we're ready to make our chocolate fudge icing. But first of all, you need to take a couple of spoonfuls of apricot jam and just warm it up. So I warmed it up in the microwave, okay? And then using a pastry brush, you're just going to brush the apricot jam on top of your cake. And what this will do, it will help to keep the cake in place so you don't get any crumbs in your chocolate fudge icing when you pop it onto the top of your cake. So just make sure that you've got like a 1 coat of apricot jam all across the top of your cake and to the edges as well. Now what you need to do is you need to pop your margarine or your butter into a small saucepan. And what you're going to do is you're going to pop this on a low heat on the hob until the butter or the margarine has melted, and then you're going to add in your cocoa powder. You're going to stir it and you're going to continue to cook the 2 ingredients on the hob on a low heat for 1 minute. So join me back here once you've done that, and I'll tell you what to do now. Welcome back, guys. So hopefully by now your butter or your margarine has melted and you've added in your cocoa powder. You're then going to add in 3 dessert spoons of milk, and you're just going to give that a good stir. And the next ingredient you're going to add is your icing sugar, and we're going to sieve this in. So it's a good idea to just pop a little bit of icing sugar in at a time, okay, to stop that kind of puffing out. And you're literally just going to draw circles in your icing sugar to push it through the holes in the sieve. So just keep going until you have sieved in all of your icing sugar, and we can finish off our chocolate cake together. Great work, guys. So hopefully by now you've sieved in all of your icing sugar, and now what you need to do is you just need to stir the icing sugar in, okay? Go nice and slow so that the icing sugar doesn't kind of puff up in your face. You can add just a tiny bit more milk if you need to just create a lovely kind of spreading consistency. And just use the back of your spoon to really mix in and push down the icing sugar, okay, because you don't want any kind of lumps in your chocolate fudge icing. And don't forget to use your spoon to scrape down the sides of the bowl as well, okay, and to mix it in all of that icing sugar. Okay, so when you've made your chocolate fudge icing, what you're going to do is you're just going to spoon it in the middle of the top of your cake, like so, okay. You spoon it out, and then using a palette knife, if you have one, or just a regular knife, or even the back of a spoon, you're just going to spread out the icing on top of your cake. Okay, so let's just spread this out right to the edges, like so. So I'm turning my cake, as you can see, just turning it around in circles, so that I know that I have covered all of the top of the cake with the chocolate fudge icing, like so. That looks absolutely delicious. Now what you'll need to do is you'll need to get out your Easter nest, if you're using one that you prepared earlier. You need to take out your covered pint glass or jam jar, and then take out the tin foil or the cling film, and you're just going to very, very carefully peel away the tin foil or the cling film, leaving you with a lovely Easter basket, and you're going to pop that onto the top of your cake, like so. And then the last thing you're going to do, if you want to, is you can fill it with some Easter eggs, or Maltesers maybe, if you don't have any Easter eggs left over. But I think that looks absolutely amazing. So yummy. I'm so chuffed with that. And here we have our chocolate Easter nest cake with a hazelnut and meringue filling and a chocolate fudge icing. I'm sure you'll agree that it looks absolutely delicious. So thank you so much for joining me today to make your chocolate Easter nest cake. I really hope you enjoyed cooking along with me, but more importantly, I hope you enjoy eating it and sharing it with your family and your friends. Thank you so much for joining in with me, and I really look forward to cooking with you guys again next week, when we'll be back with another delicious bake. Have a super week, guys. Bye.